So we've just started simplifying those classes, and there are actually more classes now. We are on green state. I see no real reasons for refactoring apart from, you know, being in the loop of changing it all back to where it was. So let's just uncomment one test and see what happens. And the idea is that I will try to follow this pattern of having classes per each state, and I want to see how far I can go with that. Right, so player 2 score. So now that we enable 2-2, I think it's from one of those. So 2-1, and 2-1 was, I still have problems. So 30-15. 30-15 is here, and we definitely need player 2 score. And player 2 score will lead to 30 all, right? 30 all new, which doesn't exist as a class, but we can add it. Okay. And it should have a score, and the score should say 30 all. All right, let's carry on. 3-3. No, this. Let's have just the natural situation. So maybe this one, 2-0. So it means 30 love. Player 1 score for 15 love. 15 love. Yeah, there's a problem that it doesn't really get me there. Okay, player 1 score. And where do we go? 30 love. Is it already? No. So it's a new class. love will have missing score method, yes. And we need this, right? That's the way it's written. Yep. Okay, let's carry on. So 2-0, so maybe now we need 0-2, which is love 30. We need that for what? Okay, so now there's a different expectation. So love 30. So the situation was when there was 0-1. So 0-1 is love 15, probably. Love 15, and player 2 scored. Oh, so that was a mistake actually. Love 15, and when player 2 scores, we should be love 30. Why is it 15 all? Maybe I just copied and pasted. Okay. Anyway, this should be love 30, right? Love 30 new. So let's crush for good reason. Good reason. Crush for what reason now? Undefined method score. So and then love. Love 30. Okay, we're green. So maybe 2-1. Is that? Actually, we don't have 2-1 in here. That's interesting. So that's a lacking coverage, is it? Yeah. So we don't really have all of those 3-1, 2-1. That's really cool because the repo was prepared in a way that we should be trusted to the test, but it's always the case that we shouldn't really trust the test. So maybe we can probably add the missing coverage later. So it's good to detect that. Probably we should have videos about mutation testing, right? So that we can uncover all of the problems here. But let's just, before we finish this video, so now we have a number of those classes, right? Representing the implementation. So it is quite a big number, and I thought we would only have this number, but now I can imagine that there are more tests missing probably. So I'm not sure where to go. So if you have any ideas, where should we go with this? Because clearly this may not scale, but again, now what's the problem with having many classes? That's the question I'm asking myself all the time. First, it does take some space in here, but if I look at this code base like here, it doesn't really take as much space. Like even if this list is like byte here, it's okay. Each result is represented. we're lucky that tennis game is, still has a limited number of the results, and obviously once we get to advantages, we'll follow a different pattern. One thing which I'm often practicing is it's maybe a weird thing, but it's around formatting the code. I think the way to do this is like that. So let me just show you an example what I mean. So obviously formatting the code is always very controversial, and I know many people hate the way when I'm doing like this, but it does bring me some joy. And now we have really small classes, right? And I have one idea how to make this disappear. I will show you in another video, which means my my classes would be, there will be more smaller classes like this, and somehow to me it feels better. I wouldn't do that with all the code. It's just this way. And now it actually, then when this disappears, so for now let's just remove it for a moment. This is actually not bad, right? This even reminds the state machine. So from love all we can go to 15 love or to love 15 and so on and so on. So I can even jump between those classes, which is already possible, right? I can just travel through this. Yeah, so this is an interesting thing. I will leave it this way. I'm not sure if it's really wrong to have it like this, but I think for now it does help me with I don't know how to call it. Is it aesthetics of the code? Temporarily it feels better, yeah. And when the code looks like this, so apparently this video is now about code formatting. Surprisingly, that wasn't my goal. Okay, let's probably should create some shortcut, or probably some Vim masters would tell me how to do it in 10 keystrokes. And I'm just making a fool of myself. Okay, and I think it's, at least for me, it's more clear what is missing, or what is totally wrong. Right, so it's clear that we are binding this machine. Players are, maybe I should remove the old implementation. Yeah, let's remove the old implementation. It's really, so for now we will be just, just this code. So obviously we should be passing the current implementation. No, probably not, because this is now not needed. Player 1 score point. I wonder how far we can go with that. And detect result, this is no longer needed. If player, so that's a problem. So this is now player 1 name. So we are kind of back where we were without the player objects. Let's see. I'm making kind of a regression right now, but that's okay. Changing code is really fine as long as you know what you're doing and why you're doing this. It's fine. It's better to change code than not to change code. We should be confident in the code bases, and we should be confident in our tests, or the tests / our implementation. So now I can spot some problems here probably sooner or later. Okay, enough. This is already a long video. So it was about, just to summarize, I was following the TDD pattern where the tests were already there, so it was very easy. And then we were kind of reformatting the code to present it better, right? So in this perspective, nothing really changed. And then we removed the previous implementation just to have it on clean state. So, okay, it's not really bad, right? So I should probably carry on with this. Okay, thanks for watching.